So Lake Charles, Louisiana, it's like 120 degree heat index every day. And this was our first time going there. This was Hurricane Laura, devastated the area completely. About day 8, I would say, of I believe what was an 18-day deployment. I'm cooking over the tilt skillet, and Chef Lisa, our director, comes in and she's like, "You need to take a break." Because most of the time on these deployments, there's no time for breaks. We just have to keep going. And so she comes up to me and asks me to take a break. So normally my break consists of me going over to a trash can and grabbing a little bit of this or that, and just kind of sitting over the trash can and eating and trying to make it through the day. But I decided to go up to the front of the line and grab a plate of the food that I had been preparing all day. And I took it back to our command post and sat in that command post, and I tasted this food. Now, bear in mind that I cooked everything in there mostly. Like I touched it in some way. I seasoned it, I seared it, whatever it was. And I put that first bite of food in my mouth, and I just started crying. Because I was just amazed of the flavor and the complexity in the food. It was just amazing to me. It's the first time ever that I actually was on the receiving end of the meal. And it's 120 degrees outside. I haven't eaten all day, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was the best thing I've ever had. And I got to thinking about it. I was like, I didn't make this. I seasoned it, I cooked it, I prepared it. I didn't put all that spice in there. And no matter how much I can say that I dumped this seasoning, because you got to remember, a tilt skillet is like 40 gallons. And when we season, we just grab this and I just and hope that it comes together, right? Like we just pray over it and, God does the rest. I'll tell you what, God touched that plate in such a marvelous way. I've eaten in some really nice places and tried a lot of food, but the minute that food hits that little white box, God does something magical in it. And I became convinced ever since then, even the 1,000,000+ meals that I've personally prepared, that it's not me. I didn't season it. And that somehow when it hits that little white box, that little box that we call the Bible, because sometimes that's the only Bible that someone ever opens up. When it hits that little white box, God changes it. And he seasons it and he tailors it to the individual person. And that's why we do what we do, because it's not us. We call it the grace. When we're on that deployment, God just surrounds us so much and he covers us. And everything we do just gets elevated and just anointed for the final person who receives it. And I experienced it that day, and I'll never forget it.